Matt, welcome back to the program. How you doing, man?
Good, Benny. Thanks for having me.
Hey, I'm sure that you are celebrating these arrests. Did they surprise you? I know that you've been posting quite a bit about it. Are you happy that the DOJ is taking these actions? Seems pretty aggressive, honestly. I like it.
I'm thrilled. I mean, this is obvious. Everything you just said there is exactly correct. It's exactly what we needed. There's been, look, for conservatives, we are, and I'm the same. I qualify this way also, that we're so used to the people in power who claim to be conservative or claim to be Republican not actually doing anything, talking a big game and then not doing anything, or writing a sternly worded letter or saying, yeah, we'll investigate, we'll look into it, and nothing happens. And so we're very used to that happening. And so you can't really blame us for sort of assuming, well, yeah, same thing's going to happen again. But the difference this time around, and we've seen this not just here, but all throughout Trump's second term, is that we're actually going out and doing the thing too, because you can actually do it. And I think the point that you raise is very good, that these people, these leftists, they turn on each other right away. Don Lemon throwing everybody under the bus, even though it's incredibly clear that he's just as guilty, at a minimum, just as guilty as the rest of them. Even if it were true that he didn't know what they were doing, which it isn't, even if it were true he didn't know what they were doing, he just kind of saw this mob out in the parking lot or something and decided to tag along to see what they're up to. Well, the moment they walk into the church, now you know what they're doing. It's pretty unambiguous. And you chose to come in and join them. And so you're just as guilty, even if you didn't know ahead of time, which he did. But they all turn on each other. And that's because they all, just like conservatives have grown so accustomed over the decades to, Republicans not doing anything, the left, they're also very accustomed to that. And so they just assume at this point they can do whatever they want and there will be no consequences. And that's why they can go out there and they can cosplay as these revolutionaries, and they can play. To them, it's just a game. It's like a big game that they're playing. They assume that there will be no consequences. The moment you start instituting consequences, everything falls apart for them, because they were not expecting this. They're not prepared for it. They didn't sign up for this. They signed up for, let's cosplay as revolutionaries and then go home and scroll TikTok and look at all the comments congratulating us and then go to sleep in our nice homes. And that's it. Like, that's what they thought they were going to get. You start putting in place real consequences and they're all going to fall apart. And I'm thrilled.
Rat eat rat. There's absolutely no honor among thieves. Don Lemon immediately turned on the organizers, even though he's on camera kissing one of them, bringing them coffee. He went to the altar of the church. Matt, I know you've done quite a few controversial documentaries, but if you ever stormed a mosque and ran up to an imam and put a microphone in his face and disrupted their service, how fast do you think you'd be in jail?
I don't think I'd make it to my car. I think I might have consequences that are more immediate than jail if I were to storm a mosque, but if I somehow survive that, then I don't think I'd make it to my car. And also, by the way, talk about the left not anticipating consequences. The FACE Act itself, of course, was designed by the left to put these special protections in place for abortion clinics, which, of course, an abortion clinic is not an establishment that should have any special protections at all. It shouldn't exist in the first place, but it shouldn't have any special protections at all. But that's what the FACE Act was for. They kind of threw in this other stuff about, this will apply to houses of worship, just to get the bill through and to make it seem like, this is, it's to help both sides. But they didn't actually they never intended for this thing to be used to actually prosecute leftists who are interrupting churches. And so yet that's what the law says. And so we can enforce it, and we should. And so they never anticipated any part of this. And they're finally, reaping what they sow.
What should happen to Don Lemon, Matt?
Well, go through the book, right? Look at the book. Talk about throwing the book at someone. Well, go through it and find every possible crime that you can charge him with legally. And there's a bunch. It's not just one. Find every crime you can charge him with every single one down to the letter, and then give him the maximum possible sentence for every single one. In other words, do to him exactly what the left does to us. Do to him exactly what the left did with the January Sixers. Just do that. Do exactly what the left would do. To use your example, if I, as a quote right-wing extremist, stormed a mosque under a Democrat administration, what would they do to me? Let's just ask that. What would they do? Well, the answer is I'd be in prison for a very long time. They would make sure that I wake up for the rest of my life until I die regretting having done that. It's going to ruin my life. I'm going to regret it every second of my day. They would make sure of that. And that's exactly what should happen to Don Lemon. I want him to wake up every single day, and the first thought in his head is, my God, I wish I had never done that. But he did, and now he should reap the consequences to the maximum possible degree.
So Don Lemon, I didn't know that you could possibly be this mentally handicapped, but he did go on Dylan Mulvaney's grandmother's podcast immediately, and he ran there right as we were broadcasting with Harmy Dillon. And Harmy Dillon said, listen, Don Lemon is better be careful here, because if we find out here at Civil Rights that there was some racial element to this, that these BLM activists, these primarily black activists, that you could see the group, were attacking a church because of their race, because they thought that it was a white church, then there's going to be some real accelerant to our charges. There's going to be some potential hate crime charges there. And those are the kind of things that stick 20, 30 years, right? This is the kind of stuff that, that really just properly destroy your life and make sure that you'll die an old person in prison. And Matt, within the hour of Harmy saying that on our show, Don Lemon goes on this lady's program, which I'd like to get your take on, whatever Jennifer Welsh is, which I don't know. It looks like a really bad Terminator exoskeleton or a skin suit for some type of either robot or alien, whatever it is. He goes on there and he straight up says, it's white people, bro. I did this because they're white and they have white privilege, and they're dripping in their white privilege and they don't understand it. And that's why we went there, to terrorize their children. He just straight up he says it. So again, to the metaphor of like you doing this to a mosque, if you were stupid enough to go out and say, yeah, I'm doing this because they're brown or because I don't like Middle Eastern people, and you just go on your podcast and say, dude, you'd be cooked. You'd be done forever, bro. You'd never see your children again. You'd be finished. What? Again, like I'm lucky it's a gift from God to have such stupid enemies, but...
Yeah, and well, in terms of Jennifer Welsh, whatever her name is, I've said that to me she looks a bit like, and I don't mean this as an insult, it's just true. I think she looks a bit like Willem Dafoe's trans older brother, or like maybe if the Joker escaped Arkham and then became trans and started a podcast, it's a little bit what she looks like. But again, it's just a description. I don't mean it as an insult. And in terms of Don Lemon, it is pretty amazing that he just goes right. Like maybe he had some kind of argument he could try to make that, well, I didn't intend this. I didn't know what was happening. This was not racially motivated. I was like, he could have tried that, but instead he just goes out in public like, yeah, this is about white people. I hate white people. And so the consequences are very clear. But keep in mind, I mean, these are people, again, you go back to 2020. I mean, they were storming police stations in the middle of cities and burning them to the ground with no concern about any consequences at all. This is what they're used to. They're coming from a world where, hey, we can like burn entire city blocks to the ground and throw cement blocks at cops, and most of us won't go to jail. That's what they're thinking. And so in that context, like, well, we could burn a police station to the ground and not have any consequences. So, like, of course we could just storm a church. I mean, that's nothing compared to that. But I think they're so that, that's kind of the effing around part that they've done. And now they're in the finding out phase finally. And I couldn't be happier about it.
I did want to touch on one other element here, because all of these protests seem to be for a Somali population in Minneapolis that couldn't care less about left-wing activists. In fact, they probably hate Jennifer Welsh and her kind more than you or I do, right? They probably are so disgusted by her and so repulsed by egalitarian liberalism that more than we are even. And these people are out there literally putting their lives on the line, some of them losing their lives, ramming ICE agents in order to fight for a population of Somalis that well, frankly, are incompatible with the West and truly hate them. Like, what is that? Can you break that down? Like, what is that pathology? Like, what's going on there?
Yeah, it's hard to understand. I will say I take issue with one thing, which is that there's no way they're more disgusted by Jennifer Welsh than I am. I just don't. I will not cede that to anybody. Although they probably are disgusted. If they have eyes, then they're going to be disgusted. Yeah, it is. That's the part that we can't gloss over here. We have to always keep in mind. It's like, why is all this happening? Why are these leftists out in the street going crazy? And at the broadest level, it's because they're upset that our immigration laws are being enforced legally according to the book, which is crazy enough in and of itself. But then what's the thing? What's the catalyst for this particular flare up, this blow up, especially in Minneapolis? Well, as you said, it's in particular because Somali scam artists who are stealing hundreds of millions of dollars from these people in Minnesota, because they are being deported. And yet they're out in the street screaming about it. It's a very, well, look, leftism is an ideology of destruction. It's an ideology of, it's not an ideology of building. That's why they want to, we say, well, they want to redefine womanhood. They don't want to redefine it. They just want to get rid of what the thing is and replace it with nothing. So, and this is all they talk about: deconstructing, destroying, dismantling is their favorite word. Why would dismantling be the favorite word, the slogan of a political movement? I mean, most of the time you want to claim you're building something, but for them it's just dismantle. They want to dismantle America. They want to dismantle the West, dismantle the patriarchy, dismantle the family, marriage, and all the rest of it. But this also applies to themselves. So it's an ideology of destruction and loathing and self-loathing. And so then when you think of it in those terms, I guess it makes sense that they're out there defending this population of people who obviously have a very poisonous and destructive effect on the United States. I mean, that's why they support them. It's for that reason.
Why are there hundreds of thousands of Somalis in America? Did any politician ask permission of the American people to bring in this specific population to our country?
No, they didn't. And as much as we hear about the left talking about democracy and the wonders of democracy, well, yeah, I don't remember ever voting on this. I don't think that ever went up for a vote where any politician, to your point, came to us and said, "Hey, what do you think?" Like, right? Hey, there's that failed state in Africa, that war-torn, terrorism-plagued failed state in Africa with an average IQ of 68. What do you think if we just start importing those people by the boatload into this country? What do you guys think? Are you yay or nay? I don't remember that ever happening, and I think that if we had gotten a say or a vote or even a discussion, almost every normal American would say, "Well, obviously not." It's what's in it for us. I mean, this is America first. This is what America first means. It's the same thing that in every other country they do this kind of instinctively. Only here is it some sort of controversy where, okay, if we're going to do something as a country, then as America, then it should first and foremost benefit Americans. If it benefits other people too, then great. But it should first and foremost benefit Americans. So before we do anything, the first question should be, what is in it for Americans? How do Americans benefit? And if the answer is they don't, if the answer is, well, it doesn't really benefit them, but it's great for the Somalis, well, then we shouldn't do it. And that's America first. It's also just basic common sense.
Yes, basic common sense that isn't taught in schools. I did want to get to this, and we could talk for the next hour, Matt. I know that you're up against a hard out, but your new series, Real History with Matt Walsh, I watched one of the episodes yesterday that you guys sent us on slavery in Africa, and it was eye-opening. I had my producers pull up a clip. I don't think we'll have time to play it, of Don Lemon getting completely roasted live on CNN by a British historian saying, yeah, it was actually the Africans that created slaves in Africa. And they were as torturous, villainous, and evil as any slaveholder here in the Americas. And I watched your episode. It was incredible deconstruction of this. Can you talk me through your new series?
Yeah, so this is a series where we're going to take a look at some of the most talked about episodes in history that talked about but are very little understood. The media lies about it, Hollywood lies about it, all of our institutions, and of course the education system most of all, because we know that for not just for the last few years, but for generations now, for decades, the goal of the education system in this country has been to get Americans, to get kids to hate this country and be ashamed of it. And so we're going to look at many of these episodes in history that are used in that way as a cudgel to make people ashamed of themselves, ashamed of their country. And what we're going to find is that, you know, the story you were told about these things, starting with slavery, it's not even the tip of the iceberg. It's entirely out of context. Many of the things you're told are just a flat out lie. And we're going to look at it. And there are so many basic, and you know, this is a 45 minutes. We don't have time in the series to go into all the details. Slavery is a global institution that existed for many thousands of years across the entire world. And so you could spend your entire life studying it. So we just start with like, okay, here are the basics, and go pursue the rest of it yourself. Pursue the knowledge yourself is what you should do. But what you'll find even in 45 minutes is like, wow, I wasn't told any of this. No one told me any of this. And so we hope that people will subscribe and watch the series.
Can you just give a live version of this really quickly on Greenland? I know that it is a wonderful thing to actually be part of it's a blessing to be part of a strong nation, a superpower, a nation that has an actual leader with a clear vision, and an expansionist nation that shows vitality and that something's actually working here and we're growing and that our people are strong. It's a good thing, in fact. Your thoughts on Greenland as that sort of materializes? Final question.
I think it's great. I think we absolutely should pursue it. I think that this is America at its core. I think the people that are so scandalized by the idea of America expanding in any way, of claiming new territory, I think the people that say that they have no understanding. Again, I mean, to go to the thing, they have no understanding of American history.
Yes.
This is America. I mean, what do you think, that we just this entire the continental United States was just sort of inherited? No, it was expanded. We fought for it. We bargained for it. We pioneered. We discovered. And America at its best, that's what America is all about. And I think it's great to have a leader that is recapturing that very American spirit again.
We have a photo for you, Matt, as a parting gift. I know that you have your show to do, but here's a photo as a parting gift to Matt Walsh, who we're huge fans of here. Nikema Armstrong getting arrested, bro. Look at that. There's your. Did you ever think you'd see it? BLM terrorists being arrested under the KKK law, Matt. Come on.
It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. I don't know what to say, but it would bring a tear to my eye if I had any soul at all at this point.
Final parting thoughts on them using the KKK Act to bring the BLM terrorists into federal custody.
Well, I think, along with the FACE Act too, I think this is just it's poetic. This is poetic justice, and I think we've all been waiting for it, and it's great to see that it's finally here.
It is wonderful to see. Thank you, Matt, so much. Everybody, please check out. You obviously already follow Matt. He's got 4 million subscribers here on X, millions more on YouTube. His new series called Real History with Matt Walsh is an absolute banger. You got to check it out at the Daily Wire. Thank you, Matt. Godspeed, man.
Thanks.